It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here. Paris Martineau. The judge says he's going to tear the barriers down in the Google App Store. This is in the Google versus Epic case. The FTC clamps down on fake online reviews. Is it enough? Soon enough? And the future of war. Can you take a guess? Is AI involved? Yes, AI is involved. All that and a whole lot more. Next on This Week in Google.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 782, recorded August 21st, 2024. Yassified. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, the show we cover everything but Google, but that's our privilege because we're the bosses. It's not a democracy. It's Jeff Jarvis, who is the Townite was the emeritus Townite professor for journalistic innovation at the Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Hello, Jeffrey.
Hello, boss. How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. You were doing a book thing? You were like
your new environs?
Yeah, I love it, actually. It's great. I don't have to wear pants. It's no, I'm wearing. Look, could I do this if I weren't wearing? I can't lift my leg. There you go. I'm too old to lift my leg. Just take it as given. That's Paris Martineau from The Information. Hello, Paris.
Hello.
You're getting on a plane, a big old jet airplane this weekend to go far, far away.
Not this weekend.
Next weekend.
But the weekend.
2 weekends.
2 weekends from now. At some point in the
we're going to
future.
We're going to cross paths because I'm coming to New York.
It's true.
September 5th. You're not going to be in town though when we do our meetup at Bryant Park.
I will say there's record on this very podcast of me saying
I know.
I can do any time that week, just not
the weekend.
after Friday night.
Yeah. Well, we
So
don't
I
get
will
until
be here.
Thursday night, so
That's fair.
I blew it, but I thought Friday afternoon in the park. I don't know anyway, we're going to a show that night. So I just thought it'd be better to do it Saturday. I'm sorry, we're going to miss you. But then I also thought for your own security, it'd be better for you not to come.
What does that mean?
Seriously. I don't want you to be mobbed.
By all my hordes of adoring fans.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yes, Jeff, you can come.
Cream pies for me.
You guys can just wave towards the area of Brooklyn vaguely at the general vicinity of where Gizmo will be.
But
I'm
there'll be
honestly a
mobs
little
of
nervous.
Parisians.
I'm nervous that to do this in a park for some reason. Am I crazy? Bryant Park's nice,
Why
right?
does
Bryant
that
Park's wonderfully nice. Yeah.
That's where they have the
concern
Christmas festival fair, right?
Yeah.
I've done that.
Yeah, on the skating in that time. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
near
it's
the library?
yeah, right next to the library.
So it's good people there. It's not the
Yeah. Hey, it's New York. Who's not good?
They're all good people.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. And then Joe's taking us on a photo walk. Actually, I'm really excited about this. I'm going to bring my good camera and everything because Joe's taking us I'll give you the itinerary for the photo walk just so you can, because even though I was born in New York, I don't really know that much about it. I never lived there for any length of time. So we're going to have the meetup from 3 to 5 p.m. Sun goes down, about 7?
Somewhere around there.
You can just watch Happens to Me and you'll know when the sun goes down. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
be able
right.
to tell you by the end of this episode.
So we're going to walk from Bryant Park to Grand Central, which is the most beautiful terminal in the country, in the world probably. Well, no, in the country anyway. We're going to take some photos there. Then we're going to walk to the Tudor City Overpass to take the classic shot overlooking the Chrysler Building in Midtown.
Cute.
Yeah. Then we're going to subway it to Washington Square Park because that's a great place for people watching, and it's got the arch and all that. Then to Doyers Street to take some photos of Bloody Angle and Chinatown. I don't know what that is.
Nice.
Boyer Street?
I don't know what that is. Walk to Manhattan Bridge, take photos of Lower Manhattan, the Brooklyn Bridge, and Chinatown during golden hour. And then if there's time, we're going to go to Cortlandt Street and take some photos inside and outside the Oculus. This sounds like a great photo walk.
That sounds adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aunt
You'll be
Jemima
there
says
by
she's
the
already exhausted.
Memorial as well.
It'll be, yeah, the memorial is, I've been to the memorial. I bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
It's really powerful. The 9/11 memorial. And the Oculus is that you take that, right? Is that the PATH station
That's
you
how
go
the PATH
to?
station comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like a whale.
Yeah, it looks like bones.
A
Whale
dead
bones.
whale. Yeah.
Bone building.
Yeah, the bone. Is that what they call it? That's what the New Yorkers
That's
call
what
it.
I called it.
Go down to the bone building.
Down to the bone building, you take a left.
Take a left. Get on the path.
When I was at Wired Condé Nast offices, we're at One World Trade, so I was in the bone building a lot.
Yeah. You were in One World Trade. How high?
In the 30s somewhere.
It's kind of scary.
was nice.
Did it move
But
with the wind?
It's particularly crazy because they had I think it's on like the 60th floor, a coffee shop that was just for like tenants of the building. And it was so incredible up there. One day, my sister had come to visit. And so we went up to the top of the World Trade Center. And that did feel a bit scary.
Yeah. Very cool. And of course, I don't think it would be appropriate for Mr. Jarvis, who is still a little bit skittish after 9/11.
Yep.
I couldn't believe I was thinking about this the other day. It's been 23 years.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's almost the 23rd anniversary of 9/11. That's hard to believe. Paris, you don't remember it, do you?
Vaguely, I remember like seeing news reports.
People were
leaving
upset.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9/11 is to you as the shooting of President Kennedy is to me. Right? Was that kind of young?
I think she's even younger. I think she was like 3 or 4. Right? It's 23 years ago. You were just a babe.
I would have been like 4 or 5.
Yeah, 5. Okay. I was 6 when Kennedy was shot. 5 or 6. I do remember, and I vividly remember that. Anyway, enough of the history. Let's talk about the future. So many interesting subjects today. We'll start with Google. Just, why not?
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be different.
The judge in the Epic versus Google case is pretty upset. He's going to, quote, tear the barriers down on Google's App Store monopoly. Judge James Donato, 8 months after a federal jury unanimously ruled that Google's Android App Store is an illegal monopoly in the Epic. Epic makes Fortnite. They sued both Apple and Google. They want a store on both the iPhone and the Android phone. You could sideload Fortnite for a while, but they don't want to give the 30% to Google and Apple. So they sued both. The Apple case didn't go so good. The Google case went a little bit better. Judge Donato, after the jury unanimously ruled it was a monopoly, 8 months later had his final hearing on remedies. A couple of days ago, August 14th. Now, he didn't say what he's going to do yet. That ruling will come. But he did say this, which probably gives you a hint. We're going to tear the barriers down. It's just the way it's going to happen. The world that exists today is the product of monopolistic conduct. The world is changing. We're going to hear his ruling in a couple of weeks. It sounds like the court's going to force Google to do what Apple's been forced to do in the EU alone, which is allow a third-party app store on the phone.
The funny thing is, he's talking about Google's monopoly of the App Store. Has he heard of Apple?
Well, but they have a monopoly of the App Store on Android, right?
Well,
I think Samsung has an App Store, but yeah. Google argued, the Google lawyers said, if this is Glenn Pomerantz, their lead attorney, quote, if the American Nazi Party app came to Play would say no. Epic's attorney said, if Google's actually reviewing every single app on a third-party store, it gives Google the gatekeeping authority it's already abused. Judge Donato made it clear he plans to ban any non-discriminatory behavior when it comes to how Google treats rival app stores, up to and including human review. This is Sean Hollister writing in The Verge. That's confusing. He's going to ban non-discriminatory. I think Sean, maybe you meant ban discriminatory behavior. Ban non-discriminatory. I'm as confused as I am about Governor Hochul's banning of congestion pricing. Did she ban it or did she not? I don't understand. Was it?
She
She
said
allowed it.
before the show. She banned the congestion pricing setup.
She
that
said
was
you
in
can't do
place.
that.
She said you can't do it. And
So
I'm not
Uber,
sure what they
if
mean
it was
in this.
raining in New York City, Uber price went up like 4 times. Huge.
Well,
jump.
some different.
this
Not
isn't
all congestion
raining.
pricing. This was a New York City specific congestion pricing scheme that I believe the gist of it was cars entering and exiting a certain part of Manhattan during certain hours of the day would have to pay like $15.
I love that idea. You know what they should just do?
That's why people were booing her at the DNC.
Yeah.
She did away with that at the last minute. Or what I assume people were booing.
Governor, I think they should just close Manhattan to auto traffic.
I think it would be quite beautiful.
Wouldn't it be beautiful? Everybody'd have to walk.
Everywhere.
You'd have to walk, Jeff.
See, here's the problem. I sometimes have to go to Long Island, and I won't go
That's
over
the problem.
GW Bridge.
That's your problem, man.
so I have to go through Manhattan.
Oh, so
See?
you're saying there should be a carve out for bridge haters.
Yes. Yes.
In any event, Google has always offered side loading, which is how Fortnite was for a while initially available on Android. But the problem was that it wasn't very secure. In fact, the program, somebody hijacked the download, and there was malware for a while being offered. This is in the very earliest days. A store would be a better solution. Instead of you having to figure out where the file is, downloading it, you have to check the box that says, I know this is bad, this is dangerous, I'm going to do it anyway, and then
And
download
then it becomes
it.
meaningless to check that box. Just like every time I download an app on my computer and it says, you're downloading something from the internet. Beware.
Oh, no.
I'm like,
In
yes,
his
I know,
closing
I
argument, Google attorney Pomerantz said that the direction Judge Donato is aiming constitutes Soviet-era communism.
Oh, jeez.
The courts are supporting central planning of the sort that would force Google to carry rival app stores in order to create new competition. Donato had said the whole point of this is to grow a garden of competitor app stores. I think that's fair. He's.
But what
we don't
about
know. It'll be
security?
2 weeks.
What
We'll
about
talk
security?
about it. Huh?
What about security? The thing is that Google is now responsible for us having a safe experience on Android.
Are they?
If anybody, well, yeah,
Sort
they
of.
do it. And they,
Should
yeah.
it be Google's responsibility?
I want it to be because I don't want to have to worry about it.
Well, but the
So-
good news is you don't have to install a third-party app store, Jeff. You have that option, right?
But then what happens if in that third-party app store, all kinds of bad guy Russians or Chinese or somebody
Right.
comes
Well,
in?
there will be,
Then what happens?
inevitably.
Right, there will be. And
Right.
what happens to Google then? Google will get blamed for all this. How dare you? Well, Google can't control it.
Well, Google will probably still have that warning that says what you're about to do is dangerous, right?
Yeah.
All right.
A warning
Anyway,
will probably come up that says you've chosen to install the bad app store with apps from the bad actors.
And then
Do you
Google
want
will
to
get
continue?
blamed for being a bad actor and saying that. You can't win.
Yeah. I mean, no,
Can't
it's
win.
definitely a lose-lose situation in many
Yeah.
cases. And I think that's part of what Google's argument is. But also, I think that people like the plaintiffs have a fair point that I think that this quote from Judge Donato is interesting. He says, when you have a mountain that's built out of bad conduct, you have to move that mountain. That's what's going to happen. So he's
What does
moving
that
the mountain.
mean?
It means that he's taking big actions to shift the playing field.
Oh, you're mixing metaphors so
I know, I'm
much.
sorry.
Jeez.
It's
Mohammed.
rough. It's
is there a
rough.
playing field on the mountain?
There is.
Okay.
And it's
Oh, that
falling
means you
off
could fall off, and
because-
that scares me. No, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
No, I think this, you know what? We've been grappling with this for a while. In fact, there's a general issue of how big is too big when it comes to big tech. And it's clear that Google and Apple and Microsoft and Amazon are, kind of behemoths. And that you almost, if you're going to buy online, you almost have to do business with Amazon. If you're going to, buy a phone, it's going to be from Apple or an Android phone from Samsung, most likely, maybe Google. These companies are very dominant. And I think it's not unreasonable for antitrust to take a look at not the size, but the dominance. So I still believe that Google search has way too much power, because if something's not on Google search, it's like it's not on the internet. How do you find it?
But what do you think is the solution to that? How do you solve a system like Google search becoming so powerful?
Very carefully.
Yeah.
I mean, because you're right. There's hazards here as well with the tennis court on the mountain. You got to be careful. The balls
are going to be flying everywhere.
Yeah. No, I agree that there is peril. There's a lot of peril. There's unintended consequences to this. Yeah, you're going to create an app store that's full of Russian, cutouts and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know what the answer is. But if you believe in the free market, you've got to believe that it's better to have competition than not, right? That's the whole point.
But competition, yes, I couldn't agree more. But let's remember that Android being free and open air quotes, was itself competition to Apple and Nokia and Microsoft.
And BlackBerry.
And all those. The market spoke.
Yeah.
And we ended up with two. We ended up with a duopoly.
That's the defense of it is, well, this is what people want.
Yeah.
People love their iPhones. They love their Android phones. They're happy. This is fixing something that most people, except for Epic, don't see as a problem. So I don't.
Isn't that, I guess, the argument you could have made for the monopolies of yore?
Oh, sure.
That Standard Oil, people love their Standard Oil.
Yeah, we love our Standard Oil.
Except that wasn't how Standard Oil was created.
Well, we love our Ma Bell. We love
that wasn't how, but Ma Bell was imposed as monolithic from the beginning. Standard Oil was structured. Right now I'm reading about Henry Huddleston Rogers, who put it together.
It's so good to have a historian on that.
I'm not a historian, but he put it together by strong-arming the various players, so they had no choice. The consumer had no voice in that. In this case, the consumer had a voice. There were multiple companies.
Yeah, that's true. It is very different, isn't it?
Well,
Android was offered for free to create. Samsung can exist profitably because it uses Android.
But this is not this case. This is the other case, which Google has also lost, where the Department of Justice is suing Google. Judge Amit Mehta ruled on this one, but he made the very good point that Google has all these tying arrangements. So Android is open source, but if you want to provide an Android device that consumers want with the Google Play Store and Google services, you have to sign on, and Chrome has to be on there. The Play Store has to be on there. All these Google background services have to be on there.
Because as you just said, with the services that consumers want.
And you can't delete it.
You can do an Amazon phone. That worked really well, didn't it?
Well, but that's the point, is it isn't really open source because nobody wants to buy the open source version of Android.
Because they want the Google part.
They want the Google thing. Now, it is the case, for instance, the R1, that little, cute little AI thing, that's running Android, non-Google Android. There are a lot of non-Google Android devices out there. Your Fire tablets are non-Google Android. My Peloton bike is a non-Google Android. So they get the benefit of there is an operating system that's open source that you can install on your device and have it run. But if you want to use the Google Store, brand, you got to give into Google. And that's where
Google should have a right. If you're going to use the Google brand with what comes with it, then Google should have a right to dictate those circumstances.
Things like you can't delete the browser. You can't delete Chrome. It's got to be on there and you can't delete it. The default search has to be Google search, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is why it's so difficult.
This is why it's hard, yes.
Because consumers like it. We're here because consumers liked it so much.
And part of the argument is that it's a non-coercive monopoly, kind of what Microsoft was dinged for in the 90s. That it wasn't a monopoly by force, I guess, like Standard Oil and whatnot.
Interesting.
But it is a monopoly kind of that ties in, I guess, the market forces.
Huh. Is that a term of law? Non.
I'm not sure if it's a term of law.
Yeah. Does the law care about that?
Monopoly.
Yeah. Apparently not. I mean, the FTC and the DOJ don't think so. They're not concerned about that. All right. Here's another case of Google being Google. Google's AI bot is tied to the Google Spider. So publishers are saying that if you block Google's AI bot, which is scraping all your data, it could also prevent you from showing up in search. To me, that's exactly what we're talking about, which is Google's dominance in search is being used for them now to become dominant in another field. That's classic trust behavior. And by the way, this is not something consumers want, as far as I can tell, which is the AI search result at the top of every Google page. That's the one where you told you to eat rocks. People don't like that one. It also hurts the sites because users may never click through to the site that provided the information. Many site owners, this is from Bloomberg, say they can't afford to block Google's AI from summarizing the content because it's the same tool that spiders for the web index. Blocking Alphabet blocking Google, let's just say Google. Can I stop saying Alphabet? Blocking Google, the way sites have blocked some of its AI competitors, would also hamper the site's ability to be discovered online. That is a classic monopolistic behavior. The problem is that the court stuff takes so long to wend its way through. This will be a case in 5 years. And then with appeals in 10 years, maybe they'll be. But by then, you'll have, the Terminator. You'll have Skynet. You'll have HAL 9000.
We'll have 25 new problems at the very least.
Exactly.
More like 25,000.
Google says AI overviews, that the summaries at the top of the search page, are part of its long-standing commitment to serve higher quality information. And you tell me if this is makes sense, Jeff. Bolster opportunities for publishers and other businesses. Every day, Google sends billions of clicks to sites across the web, and we intend for this long-established value exchange with websites to continue, said a Google spokesperson. With AI overviews, people find search more helpful, and they're coming back to search more, creating new opportunities for content to be discovered, or maybe creating new opportunities for us to advertise. Do you think that that people don't click through the AI search results?
It's the same argument we had with search. Do you learn enough? Would you have otherwise clicked through?
But Google's been moving in this direction all along.
New?
So they've been getting, with the knowledge graph, more and more they say, no, people just want an answer when they do a search. They don't necessarily want to go to a website. So we're just giving them the answer. We're giving them what they want.
But there's also the case that you can't tell the intent. You're proving a negative. You can't tell the intent beforehand. Did someone say, I would absolutely have gone to this story, but Google told me what I wanted? Or I didn't know anything about this and I discovered it through Google and I didn't, yes, that's enough. Or I discovered something and I clicked through. Right? There's no way beforehand to measure what the case was. So everybody's going to debate about a negative, what they would have done had they not had this. You can't tell unless you had a really controlled experiment.
Google, according to Bloomberg, is the lone holdout. OpenAI, Anthropic, and others are paying content. In fact, we have another story we'll talk about in a bit. Paying content creators for use of that content. Condé Nast just sold their entire library of content.
Well, let's talk about that.
No, wait a minute. But let me just say, Google will not do that. The only thing they've done is a $60 million deal with Reddit. According to Bloomberg, Google has signaled to publishers beyond closed doors it's not interested in negotiating. It doesn't want to buy this stuff. All right. So that's on the one hand. Now, let's talk about Condé selling the New Yorker. What do they sell? New Yorker?
Well, it's what they have,
Wired,
the New Yorker and Vogue and Wired,
Vanity
and
Fair.
But what they're really selling is their silence in litigation and legislation. Because you think about it, what a large language model needs is an incredible amount of text. And the little tiny bit that Condé Nast has is not enough to train a model. It's not worthwhile in that.
Oh,
and
good point.
OpenAI is not really setting up a business of distributing content to people, as Perplexity is at this point. So it's not really useful there. All they're buying is their silence. Now, when I testified before the Senate, who sat down the table for me but the CEO of Condé Nast, who was saying
Lynch.
they better do deals with us, and they did. But it's really just a legislation and litigation deal here to shut up Condé Nast and give them a bucket of money. And hey, everybody for themselves, okay, get a bucket of money. The problem I have with this is the vast majority of media is left out. The big moguls, my old bosses, the Newhouses, who I like very much, and Barry Diller, and Rupert Murdoch, and Axel
And
Springer.
The Guardian.
But they're
Who
all
has this
big
story.
media.
Yeah.
They're all big media, and they've stepped in to do a money grab here.
Yeah.
And you don't see the information in this deal. You don't see the city. You don't see the San Francisco Standard. You don't see public radio.
Texas Observer. Yeah, but
don't see
this
Texas
is
Tribune.
very interesting because this is the same thing with the link tax. The money goes to the big guys. It's the same thing with the California journalism
Well,
bill.
breaking news. I just 2 minutes ago got a text that there is now a deal in California. I put it in the rundown on line 67
A deal in California for what?
for the news protectionist legislation. Both the bills that existed have now been superseded by a deal that was negotiated with Google. And full disclosure here is that I testified next to Google, brought in by the California Chamber of Commerce on these bills. And I was testifying for what this becomes. This is a fund.
So you won.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a new partnership that will provide $250 million over some years in public and private funding over the next 5 years, with a majority going to funding of newsrooms. The goal is to front load $100 million in the first year to start the efforts. Wow. It'll be managed by Berkeley.
Who chooses who the money goes to? Berkeley?
Berkeley. There'll be a committee that I'm trying to see.
So it presumably won't just be the big boys, the Los Angeles Times, and
it better not be. So I haven't read this yet because it just went up, but I'm trying to pay attention to the show.
California news publishers will be the beneficiaries of a news transformation fund to be administered by the UC Berkeley School of Journalism, providing financial resources that preserve and expand California-based journalism. The funding will include
Go ahead,
contributions from tech platforms and the state of California, supporting innovative new investments that promote local journalism.
So it's really going to depend on whether they live up to the promise of supporting independent journalism, nonprofit journalism.
Right. But last I knew, when I talked to people a few days ago, the committee, much like New Jersey, was going to be represented other groups, including black media, including old media, including I think Lion, the local independent online news.
Good.
And so on. And it's endorsed here, and it has blurbs from Chris Cruson, who's the head of Lion, Regina Wilson, who I know from the California Black Media, who I talked to, Sandy Close, who represents a lot of ethnic media, so-called ethnic, Neil Chase, who runs Cal Matters, Lance Noble, who runs Berkeley Side, Ken Doctor, who does the Lookout Santa Cruz, and others. And so they're signing on here, and the two bills are now thus superseded. The next question is whether or not Google and the legislators will convince other tech companies, hello Meta, to sign into this and add in for the benefit of California news media. What I like about the fund, as opposed to a blanket, everybody gets some money, is that it's done on merit and you have to apply for the money and have a goal and have it judged and have accountability, which I think is a better way to do it. So
does that mean that the journalism bill is dead?
Yeah, both of them. There were two of them, from Buffy Wicks and Senator Glazer.
Wicks made this agreement, right?
Yeah, Wicks is taking. Well, this is what you call a forcing mechanism, right? They can brag that, my bill got him to the table.
Got
Good,
it.
fine,
Right,
brag.
right.
It's okay.
Right.
And that's what I said in my testimony. Good, if you can do that, dandy. I'm still always allergic about government involvement in speech and journalism. People are allergic about being dependent upon Google, but Google will not decide where this money goes. Neither will the state.
And the
UC
University of
Berkeley
California is independent, sufficiently independent from your point of view.
I think so. Yeah.
To manage this.
The Jersey fund is run out of Montclair State, where I have a relationship. Right. And it has a board that's made up of representatives appointed by the top public universities in the state plus the legislature. That's one way to do it. In this case, it'll be run out of UC Berkeley and will be a board that has various representatives.
Is this a template for how local small journalism can be supported going forward?
I'm glad you used the verb supported rather than saved. This is generous. It's money. It's not going to happen in every state. California is different because it's so huge. B, it's the home state of Google and these other technology companies. I don't think it's going to happen in every state. Also, I think that if you have a similar fund in certain states like Texas and Florida, I fear what they would do with it. They would, exclude certain parties and favor other parties. So I don't think this is a national solution at all. But in the cases of New Jersey and California, I think it's a better solution than what happened in New York, where Kathy Hochul's office insisted at the last minute that the bill support only print newspapers, another reason to boo her. And the same thing is happening in Washington State. And so I think it's a model, but I think it's better than the two bills that were going to be there. And given the chance to negotiate, which didn't happen in California, in Canada, we came up with a better solution, I think, than would have occurred.
Well, congratulations, because this is what you were fighting for, and I think,
Yeah, congrats, Jeff.
yeah, well done.
I mean, I was just one voice, but
Oh, you actually flew to Sacramento, California.
I
and
wrote a
testified
41-page
twice.
paper trying to
Yeah.
fight down Wix's bill. Bravo. And folks listened, so that's good.
Bravo. Yay, Jeff Jarvis. Woohoo, he's our hero.
I'm going to have a new career as a lobbyist. I'm going to start smoking cigars and go into steakhouses.
Would you, is it satisfying to do that, or is it just a pain?
As a moment, it was fascinating to do it.
I bet.
I went and talked to, I made 2 trips to Sacramento. The first time, both brought in by the Chamber of Commerce that also commissioned my paper. And I talked to the legislative aides and every member of the Senate Finance Committee to talk them through this. And it's really, it was an exercise in democracy.
Yay, good job.
So.
In a related story, the New York City news radio WCBS has abandoned its news format. This is a big company. This is not some little company.
It's not CBS, by the way. It was long ago sold.
Well, it's Entercom, right? Yeah, which is what CBS became. But still, I don't know. I grew up listening to WCBS. Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
It's okay, Gramps.
I'm still sad about it. But maybe that's more about the end of radio and AM radio in particular than it is about journalism. Although I feel like newspapers and AM radio are kind of in the same boat. And it's sinking.
Magazines. Same things happen to magazines.
Yeah.
All mass media. We talked about, last week we talked about cable and the write-downs, $9 billion write-downs from Paramount and Warner Brothers.
Where's all that money and viewership flowing?
Podcast, Leo.
Okay, now I know you're teasing me.
Screens,
Screens for sure. YouTube, TikTok, but not cable TV. Not like Fox News.
That's what's being written down.
No.
That's what's going on.
And they still haven't figured out the model for streaming.
Yeah,
right.
It's really interesting. We live in an interesting
world.
YouTube,
I think is
the
future.
Well, we're streaming on YouTube. We have for a while. We stream on Twitch, Kick, YouTube. Actually, we're going to move from Kick to Telegram, I think. I think Telegram will be a better place.
That's very cool of you.
Yeah. I've loved Telegram for a long time. I think it'll just be a more active place. Facebook, LinkedIn, and X.com. So we're on streaming on a lot of places so people can watch us as we do the shows live. I think that's a really cool thing. And I'm hoping that maybe we'll be considered to be with the hip kids. I think I've been an influencer for almost my entire career before there was even a term called influencer, but I haven't reaped any of the benefits of it. So I'm trying hard to become an influencer. Let's pause for a moment and for an advertisement, and then we will continue on with This Week in Google. Are you going to announce a new job at some point, Jeff?
I'm hoping like next week.
We've been talking about this for a year. Come on. Chop, chop.
I mean, I'm talking to another university, actually talking to two of them. And where it is now is you get into this case where universities take cuts and all kinds of stuff. And so I'm hoping
wow.
it will
That's not nice.
work out. But yeah, I'm
I
hoping
don't like that.
next
One
week.
cotton pick and bet.
And then I'll have something else that's publishing related. I hope sometime next month.
Another book.
Well, that I'm working on now. The line.
Yeah.
There's always another book.
The Web We Weave comes out
something
next
else in
month. No,
addition.
October, right?
Yeah, October. And the paperback of the Gutenberg Parenthesis comes
Yay.
out in November.
Our esteemed colleague, Jeff Jarvis, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for all the plugs.
And our also esteemed colleague, Paris Martino, who is, where are you going? Croatia.
It's true.
Yeah. You're going to go see Diocletian's Palace?
I don't know.
It's-
I know I'm going to lay by a pool, maybe a beach.
Oh, well,
Probably both.
this is more like history. Diocletian was a Roman emperor who decided he just really didn't enjoy being emperor, so he retired to raise his cabbages.
Oh,
think
that
it's
does sound like the sort of thing I'd want to see, actually.
I think
A
your dad's gonna
cabbage raising
drag you.
palace.
Yeah, Diocletian.
Yeah.
It's also, if it helps, where the Game of Thrones shot the dragon lair.
Oh.
In fact, when we were there a few years ago, they were shooting it, but they said you can't see it because it hasn't aired yet. And we don't want any spoilers. And we don't trust you, Leo. So,
They wouldn't let you see the palace, the place?
no, I saw the palace and they said, okay, see these stairs? That's the dragon lair in Game of Thrones.
They wouldn't let you
can't-
go down there.
Can't talk about it. Wow. It's a secret. And you know what? When they did show it, I said, oh, yeah, there's the stairs and the rest of it's green screen. It was just like this much.
They're like, oh, man, he's going to tell them how many steps
It
there
was
are.
all fake. Well, I guess it had to be because dragons, I'm sad to say, I hope I'm not disappointing you, aren't real.
What?
I've known a few. Worked for some.
Is Buffy one of them?
No, but we not like Buffy because
Buffy's
did a
good.
good thing. Yeah,
She did the right
we're
thing.
good with Buffy.
Our show today brought to you by BetterHelp. HELP. Now, this is practically a public service announcement for me because I am a big believer that when people are struggling, when they have anxiety, depression, when they just don't feel right, if you're not happy, if you're not enjoying life, you shouldn't go it alone. You shouldn't suffer in silence or by yourself. You can seek help. It's basically self-care, right? You don't skip leg day, right? Well, you shouldn't skip therapy day either. Even if your schedule is jammed with kids' activities and big work projects. And, it's easy to say, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that next month. I'll do that next year. And pretty soon you're my age and you never did that. No, don't. I didn't. I made mental health a major priority in my life. And I'm glad I did. And it wasn't there was something wrong with me. I just wanted to have a better life. That's what BetterHelp does because it makes it easy. It makes it easy. It's convenient. It's online. It's affordable because it's online and it's flexible, suited to your schedule. Now, here's how you get started with BetterHelp. A simple questionnaire just to match you with the right licensed therapist. But I have to tell you, and this is really important too, there is never a charge to switch therapists. So it's okay to shop. That's in fact fine. In fact, that's encouraged. I encourage you to do it because you've got to find just the right person. But if you find the right person, I love my therapist. I talk to him. I can tell him everything. He's helped me understand everything in life. It's great. I love it. And it's not like, it's a guru. It's not like somebody up there. It's just somebody to talk to who can reaffirm what you think or say, maybe you should think about it another way. It's really great. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp because it's always available online and by text and in other ways. Visit betterhelp.com/twig. We're going to get you 10% off your first month. I'm such a believer in this. betterhelp.com/twig. We talk all the time about the mental health crisis among young people and people say, well, just get rid of social media. That'll fix it. No, that's not the way to fix it. The way to fix it is to get help, to get a trained professional to work with you. It makes a huge difference. BetterHelp, HELP.com/twig. Get 10% off, but only if you go to that address. So do me a favor, go to that address. BetterHelp.com/twig. Twig. We thank him so much for supporting This Week in Google and my personal mental health. I hate you guys so much. No, see, I think I would be cranky and mean if I didn't take care of my mental health. It's easy to get.
Yeah, if I didn't see a therapist, I would be.
It's helpful, and it's not shame.
Somewhere.
It's not a shame. Do you think your generation is a little more open to that?
Significantly. Most of my friends have seen a therapist.
Yeah.
Or currently see one.
Remember in The Sopranos, Tony Soprano was so embarrassed to be going to a psychiatrist at Dr. Melfi.
It's like, my guy, you murder people. It's a therapist.
Guess why you're
It's not that big of a deal.
You probably should. You probably should. It's actually a brilliant conception for a TV show. We got a mafioso, and he's going to psychotherapy. Just imagine the conversation.
Because of his mother.
Because of his mother, who really was a piece of work.
mother.
It's always because of your mother.
So I went to a therapist once in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And the next
Once in your whole life?
Yep. And the next weekend is when Jonestown happened, and then the murders of Moscone and Milk, who were friends of mine. And I was a little busy, and I kind of said, I'm not so screwed up right now. And that doesn't mean I shouldn't have gone back and shouldn't.
That would be the
back.
time to go. I can
know,
imagine
but
how
I was
disruptive, how horrible that would have been.
Yeah.
You know, Terminal 2 at San Francisco is the Harvey Milk Terminal, and there's.
Yeah.
Have you been there? It's beautiful pictures of Harvey.
Yeah, I just went in just to see it. Yeah.
Oh, it's incredible. It's just
It's
incredible.
great.
Moving right along, should we stick with AI?
Sure, because it's the future of everything.
Actually, I'm seeing more and more articles. Now I'm feeling bad that I took that walk on the beach. I'm seeing more and more articles saying, oh, you know, it was
Now you're feeling
overhyped.
bad.
It's not going to happen. I was right in the beginning when I said, oh, it's just overhyped. It's not going to, it's just over. It's just a parlor trick. But no, then I got sucked in.
You got hypnotized.
I get hypnotized. Grok.
Oh, boy.
You had to start there.
I had to start. Well, you should start with the most extreme example of AI, right? This is Elon Musk's AI. New version came out. It's got an image generator. I do believe that one of the presidential candidates must have used Grok because you can use Grok to generate things like Kamala Harris with a gun, Taylor Swift in lingerie, Mickey Mouse with a cigarette and a beer on the beach. And Trump on Truth Social put up a bunch of AI-generated images of Taylor Swift endorsing him, which is not true, obviously. But I'm kind of torn. I feel like, well, what is safety? When I see Mickey Mouse on the beach, maybe if you're Walt Disney, you might not like that. This should be interesting to see if there are lawsuits. Maybe
I think they probably are going to have a problem copyright-wise.
Right. They haven't prevented that, as all the other AIs have. And maybe if you're a Taylor Swift fan, might you be confused and think that she did in fact endorse?
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Let me just do a different example. OpenAI found that Iranians were using ChatGPT to create campaign misinformation, and they shut down that account.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, good. Then I thought, well, it's no big deal now. Anybody who wants to make up anything can use any of these models and put it out there. And it's not like this is some superpower. It's just they used it to write their lies and they put it out. And
what's the difference between a lie picture and a lie in text?
Yeah, we should be suspicious of all kinds of things.
Trump could easily take the stage and say, hey, I just got a text message from Taylor Swift who said, good luck, we hope you win. And that's as much a lie as a picture. Is it more?
Someone could also just use Photoshop and Photoshop any of these images together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this whole AI is going to cause disaster in these realms. We're already in kind of a disaster in these realms. And yeah, it's a new tool. And yes, the speed and scale is slightly different, but it's not fundamentally different.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason why the other AI companies have tamped down on these tools' abilities to say, I'm looking at an example from this website, create an image of Mickey Mouse with an AK-47 over a bunch of images of dead children, is because that's bad for their company to have people be saying, hey, I made this with Grok or OpenAI or Perplexity. As it's been made very apparent over the last couple of years, Elon Musk doesn't feel that way about controversial content on his platform.
He loves it. This is good for him, isn't it?
I was about to say, well, he might feel differently when the lawsuits come in, but it's also what we've seen over the last couple of years is egregious amounts of lawsuits seem to roll off of him. They seem to just happen to him, and he does not change his behavior in response to lawsuits as quickly as other CEOs of tech companies would. So perhaps this is just how he's choosing to exist.
Yeah.
Here's a good one. This is from a video, romantic moments of Trump and Kamala.
I was about to say, I was like, I'm not sure if this is Grok, but yeah, the one with Kamala pregnant and Trump stroking her
Grok.
belly. And it's
Grok
definitely
too.
the very funny thing is that Grok seems to get Trump's face correct in most of these videos I've seen, but Kamala is
Doesn't
what
look
the
like
kids
Kamala.
say, Yassified. Does that mean anything to you guys?
No, what's Yassified?
No, you got us.
You
knew
Like Yas Queen, that kind of Yas?
Yeah, it's kind of like Yas Queen, but Yassified is a verb that would mean made pretty in kind of a
fakey.
I guess I would say a drag queen sort of way is perhaps the most neutrally charged way to describe that. It's often specifically related to filters you'd see on TikTok or Instagram that give people kind of a very strong jawline, really pursed lips. Like, imagine like the worst
Is it
plastic
negative or
surgery
positive?
ever. It's both. It can be positive and it can be negative.
Okay.
It depends on the
your-
context.
where- yeah,
like
it
in
depends on
this
the
case,
context.
Kamala Harris
Negative.
is yassified,
Yeah.
but it technically means she's
Not really there.
pretty in this context, but it's not. The yassification does not make her look like herself.
I'm wearing makeup right now. Does that mean I'm Yassified?
No, you're not yassified. We could yassify you. Let me see if there's a
I bet Benito
yassifier.
has a filter.
Yeah, how many A's in Yassified? 2, 3, 4,
One.
5? One.
Yas and then a fied.
Yassified. I just want to know
Double
for
S.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
asking for the title. I think Yassified would be a good title. Here's a Grok image. Barack Obama stabbing Joe Biden with a knife.
Jesus.
I think they both look a little Yassified on this.
You see, this too is the case. Do you blame the model for that, or do you blame the sick F who asked it to make that?
Well, in this case, I think it was The Verge, but okay.
Well, yeah.
Well, we support Section 230, right?
230.
We support Section 240 too, whatever that is.
I also
Make it
240.
bigger. That's it. Make it bigger.
That's the right. That's
I'm
Make
at
it
250
bigger.
myself.
Let's add
10
another
bigger.
10.
Yeah.
Here's Bill Gates sniffing a line of cocaine from a table with a Microsoft logo. Although that again is not. It's a Yassified Bill Gates, and it's not clear if he's
not a
sniffing it
Yassified
or he's
Bill
actually
Gates.
emitting.
It's coming
the
out of his
cocaine.
lip.
It looks like it's,
It does look like he's spitting.
he's
the
making
cocaine.
it. He's making cocaine. And again, these are generated by The Verge. Anyway, so this is clearly a copyright violation, offensive. But is it illegal? I mean, you could sue. Who do you sue?
That's the whole thing. And this is about the California legislation.
And what are
as
the
well.
damages is the issue.
And I honestly, maybe I'm wrong, but I've been arguing against guardrails. Like, first of all, they're never.
Some on. I'm against believing they're going to work.
That's
try.
right. That's
put them
why.
on. That's okay.
why.
But there's no way. A and B. Put responsibility where it asks. Again, the person who asks for it is responsible. You blame the machine for that? No. And I've used this example before, but it goes back to get your drinks ready, people. Gutenberg and the press, the technology versus booksellers and publishers, the intermediaries versus the authors and users in the end.
Here
The
is,
authors of AI are the person who asked for that photo.
Yeah. Here's,
This is a
this
perfect
Yassified.
example of
This is
yassification.
The girl with the pearl earring, Yassified. And I can see why it's morally ambiguous. Is that an improvement? No.
Yeah, I would say morally ambiguous. If you scroll up, I posted one of Jesus Christ that I think also, something that I think is important to note is Yassification kind of stems from the Facetunification of the internet. Facetune is an app people can use AI to make yourself look more Yassified. Basically.
Or if you use Snap, you could do this on Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, everybody on TikTok does this kind of thing.
Yes.
But it's different if you're yassifying yourself.
Yeah.
Self-yassification is okay. Don't yassify others.
Just a little bit, yeah. Don't yassify others.
Have you yassified yourself, Paris?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I'm capable of being yassified. I think it's...
You are already perfect as
listen,
is.
I'm
you laid
already,
down a challenge.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Joe's
Yassify
working
me,
right now.
please.
Here is the first run at it. I don't know. No.
It's a filter of some sort.
What is that?
I don't know. I learned so much for this. So don't yassify me, bro. This is good. I love this.
Yassify Jeff and Leo. Leave
You can
me
yassify
normal.
us. In fact, that's okay. It's like this is why it's so subtle. And this is why old white men like us don't really get it. Like, it's okay to yassify me, but not you? Okay, I don't understand. And I do, but I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, you don't. Google, did we talk? I feel like we talked about this, but maybe we talked about it on Twit and not on Twig. Google threatened tech influencers unless they preferred the Pixel. And actually,
on Twig, you talked about it.
Yeah, we did talk about this?
No, on Twig you did. On Twit you did.
Twit. Okay.
Twit.
So they stopped doing this, but there's a thing called the Team Pixel, which is not aimed at reviewers from credible magazines, but aimed at influencers. But it's kind of, the whole point is to obfuscate the difference between an influencer and a reviewer. They send out pixels, but in order to get the pixel, at least initially, you had to agree. So let me read you what the agreement was. By opting into this program, do you acknowledge you're expected to feature the Google Pixel device in place of any competitor mobile devices? Please note, if it appears other brands are being preferred over the Pixel, we will need to cease the relationship between the brand and the creator. This is the most oblique way of asking.
I like that it's in a Google form box that says brand love.
Brand love. Actually, I think this was the brand love was the name of the PR. It's the PR agency, 1,000 Heads.
Oh, jeez.
1,000 Heads,
Was responsible for
773
this.
Yassified.
And that's what they do. They wait a minute. Now, swing and a miss. Try again for the homepage. I guess I screwed up. It's a social transformation company. We combine expertise in data analytics, strategy, technology, and creativity to help the world's best businesses build social age brands. And that's the whole point. You see all these people using these products? They've been given these products and told, you better show it and nothing else, because you're not a reviewer. You're just playing one on TV.
You're just our...
Yeah. You're working on Maggie's farm is another way of putting that. So,
I mean, it's similar to just influencer marketing generally.
Paris, did you get that reference?
Maggie's farm.
Maggie's Farm, no. I assume it's some TV show in black and white.
No. Bob effing Dylan.
Okay.
Do you know who Bob Dylan is?
I know who Bob Dylan is.
Phew.
I just,
I ain't going to work on Maggie's farm.
We've
no more.
100% had this exact exchange that I made some sort of joke about the labor conditions on Maggie's farm.
See?
We did.
She
on this.
know.
I'm learning.
She knows.
Okay. All right.
In any event, Google says, oh, yeah, that was tone deaf. Sorry, we take it back. But let me point out, this happens all the time, that every company, Apple may not put it explicitly, but that's the implication if you get a free iPhone. Reviewers, of course, are very clear about this. They say, no, look, but this is why I don't take free stuff, because then I don't even want that potential quid pro quo, right?
I think there's something a little different here, too, which is kind of the blurring of lines between influencer marketing and like proper review culture, which has been happening more and more over the past decade or two. But I mean, a forum like this is clearly targeted at like an influencer marketing campaign where it's like, you know, people promoting clothes on Instagram. It's like, we give you clothes and in exchange you post them. We give you phone and in exchange you promote it. It's a bit different than reviewing, but I think part of the issue is that over the past decade especially, the two have kind of become the same. You see this a lot in the video game industry and basically with any product relating to Apple. I'm sure other companies have this too, where if you say a bad word about the product you were given to review, your access is pulled.
Yeah, and I think the entire intent of these PR agencies and the people who do this and the companies who do it is to blur the line. The whole reason they do it is because you may not be able to tell the difference between an influencer and a reviewer. It's not stamped on
We
their
still have the
foreheads.
FTC rules that were put in, 10, 12 years ago for bloggers. That did not apply to companies like Condé Nast, but did apply to bloggers, saying that if you received something for free or if you received consideration, you had to disclose
it. Yeah.
And I don't know that I've seen any, and there was enforcement in the early days. I don't see any mention of that lately. Have you?
Good. Yeah, but still a rule, by the way.
Yeah.
And we are very careful to adhere to the law when we do our ads. For instance, I can't endorse a product I don't actually use. I have to use it. And when you don't hear an endorsement,
that was also the Pat Boone problem, right?
Right. He had the acne medicine.
Do you know who Pat Boone was?
I assume it's a boom mic with a baseball cap. Is that right? A boom mic smoking a cigar.
Pat Boone would amuse you.
There is nothing to be gained by knowing about Pat Boone, Paris.
Okay.
Just
Boone or boom?
Boone.
Boone.
He wore white shoes.
I thought my joke was really
He was
funny,
a
but it doesn't
crooner.
work.
Pat Boom.
He wore white shoes? That's
was
a
a
description
crooner.
of who this man was?
It tells you a lot what you want to know.
Imagine if you died and someone was explaining you on a podcast and like, oh, Jeff Jarvis, he wore white shoes.
Go to patboone.com right now. And you...
I think he had a song, didn't he, about white shoes?
I think so.
White bucks is what they were called.
See? There's his shoes.
White bucks.
Wow. There are his shoes.
Yeah. Gospel Hall of Fame.
I worked at Tech TV with his granddaughter, actually.
Really?
Yeah. She was great. Very nice person. And Grandpa Pat was actually quite a sweetie. So there.
90 years old.
I like that purple suit. I gotta get
Isn't
one of
that
those.
great? With a string tie. I love that.
String tie.
And the name of the song, My Stupid Tattoo.
Okay, that's very Brooklyn core. That whole outfit and the song called My Stupid Tattoo.
He talk about cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
He sang in a crooner fashion early rock and roll songs. I can't remember. Was it Hot Diggity? I can't remember which song it was. But he brought rock and roll into white America mainstream with his really god-awful renditions of traditional rock songs.
Whereas Elvis did it with some panache.
Elvis did it. And with some panache. Pat Boone was it was about...
Oh, no. Pat Boone was the whitest of white bread.
Panacheless.
Hot diggity, dog diggity, boom, what you do to me. I
say hot diggity often, so
he recorded Fats Domino's "Ain't That a Shame." I can't play it, or we'll get taken down.
But you can just see how he's moving.
It's "Ain't That a Shame," yeah, and so it really was cultural appropriation. I mean, it was the worst kind.
Back to the point, he endorsed an acne cream, but didn't really use it, didn't really endorse it, and got sued for it.
Yeah.
So
and lost. By the way, he had to take it back.
Yeah.
So the FTC has long said that. They also have rules about. They just actually passed some new rules, which are, I think, really good against buying reviews, fake online reviews. This is an example, though, of how slow they are to respond to this.
Yeah.
The rules prohibit the selling of fake and AI-generated reviews and testimonials.
Which is just everywhere.
The FTC was working on this as a priority when I was at Wired in like 2018, 2019. It's wild that it just now
yeah.
came into existence.
That was the whole Sports Illustrated case. That was that horrible company. That's all they do.
You know, let's get back to Pat Boone for a moment.
Let's get back to where this podcast belongs.
Yeah,
Pat Boone.
Forget. Do you know who Rod McEwen is?
No. See, I'm the worst person to play this game with because I don't know names of people I like know in real life.
Your folks do.
I'm just bad with names. Who is he?
So what's interesting is he was everywhere in America in the late 60s and early 70s. And he's just disappeared off the face of the map. I just read a Slate piece, this came out a couple of years ago, about Rod McEwen, best-selling poet in American history.
That's not saying much.
60 million books, 100 million records.
Wow.
His poetry was execrable. It was just awful. But it was romantic, and he just sold like crazy.
He'd be big on TikTok. Oh, he'd be big.
Yes, he would, because he talks, kind of.
Oh,
he was like Barry White before Barry White.
He was the white Barry White.
The white Barry White. And I just read this article
Paris,
and I
you
thought,
were going to add into something?
Oh, never mind. I was completely irrelevant.
Riffing.
the
A
title of this
lesbian
show
on
is,
TikTok, very similar to him. In
Oh, really?
Appearance, yeah. Appearance-wise. Yeah.
he had long blonde hair. This title of the show should be Ask Your Parents.
No, it's the actual
When you guys
opposite.
were teenagers, okay, let's take this further.
No, but
When you guys
we
were
laughed at,
teenagers-
I'm sure Jeff did. We laughed at Rod
Oh,
McEwen.
yeah, I did.
He
Go
was
ahead.
Why?
Go ahead, Paris. Paris is, because he was to be mocked.
like Pat Boone.
He was
a-
treacly. He was
treacly,
he was
middle
saccharine.
American.
He was
yeah.
but you guys as young adults or teens had an awareness of a poet?
because it was pop culture. It wasn't real poetry.
You want to hear a little?
It was a
Yeah.
spoken word.
Perhaps the time will come when I no longer smile the way I did this morning, last week.
Oh, this should be going huge on TikTok, actually. This would go so well.
In bed,
I want to see Sarah Cooper lip sync this.
people drift apart as they come together.
With the San Sebastian
Only they're going away
strings.
slower.
Yeah, which was a made up name. This was a huge, in 1967, this was huge. Middle America ate this up, sold millions of copies. It was on the album charts for 143 weeks.
Wow. That's a lot of weeks. That's
Isn't that
nearly
not
3
god
years.
awful?
That's
Anyway,
you guys
really,
had to
I'll put a
listen
link in
So
the show notes.
Paris was going to ask us something about our teenage life.
when you guys were teens,
Yeah.
what did you enjoy cultural wise? What did you do with your free time?
Long-haired, marijuana,
Yep.
protesting the
Joni
war.
Mitchell protesting.
Okay,
the
I feel like people from
moratorium.
your generation are always like, "What did I do as a child? I protested." That's like a couple nights. What? Did
That's
you
what
do
your
most of the
generation's
time?
going to say.
No, that was our
believe
entire
me.
culture. That's how
That
we
was
identified
it?
ourselves. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I helped organize a moratorium watch when I was in
Yeah.
10th grade in Garden City.
Wow.
I remember
very punk rock.
Oh, yeah.
My mom and dad.
It's folk music.
Yeah. My mom and dad, my dad was a professor at Brown, and May Day 1970 was May 1st was the national college boycott against the war. And I remember my mom silk screening shirts with the peace sign and a fist in it, sweatshirts.
Very
grew up-
cool.
Yeah, I grew up in that kind of.
My father and I argued about that I should go into the service and it'd be good for me. And
Oh,
when I
wow.
told him that I was going to go to Canada or jail, I couldn't decide which. It was very difficult. That was the equivalent of Fox News parents in the day.
So actually, I have a story about that. A couple of weeks ago, I went to my dad's 91st birthday party. He was born in 1933. And we had a Zoom call with family members, and there was one couple on the call. He was my dad's nephew, and they were wearing T-shirts with his picture on them. And I mean, it was like they were more into my dad and I barely knew these people. I found out later it's because my dad helped him escape the draft, helped him go to Canada. So it's quite the opposite. He helped this guy get out of, and they're still in Canada, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
My
exactly
father got
the
upset
opposite.
enough about it at some point. There came a point where he switched, and I guess it was seeing his son go to war when it got real.
Yeah, he didn't want to do
And
that.
he went to I had had a lung blowout when I was young, and he took me to the doctor to make sure I got a letter that helped me get out of the draft.
Well, see, there you go. He changed his tune.
He changed. He did.
You know, by the way, just for future reference, bone spurs. It works every time.
Yeah.
You're watching. I don't know what you're watching.
This
and
Week in Bone Spurs.
You're probably wondering what you're watching at this point. You're watching This Week in Google
Pat Boone.
with Pat Boone,
Hot
Rod
diggity
McEwen,
doggity.
memories down the road with Statler and Waldorf of tech.
Ask
Jeff-
grandpas.
I really think we should rename this Paris and her grandpas. I honestly do. Paris Martineau, who is way too young to put up with us from the information. It's great.
Or perhaps just young enough.
Just young enough to be in awe. And of course, Jeff Jarvis, who will soon announce that he's employed, gainfully employed. Yeah. Hey, I see the web we weave behind you on the bookshelf.
Yes, it is. Yes.
How exciting.
I had to do a video promotion for it, so
Oh, nice.
that's why I
Earlier today.
no over the weekend. That's why.
What do you do with that? Where does that go?
So they have a company, which is very nice and basic. My publisher, they're producing it, and they showed me them, and they were frankly quite produced. I said, I'm just a podcaster. Can't you just do something simple like jump cuts and things? And so
I'm just a
somebody's
humble
producing it.
podcaster in New
Just a
Jersey.
I always love it when they have podcasters on the news, and you know they're
You're in the wrong format.
because they've got big headphones on and a big microphone in front of them, and they have a background somewhat like this.
Yeah.
And it just screams podcaster.
That's what it's like whenever I join a company Zoom call accidentally, like from home, if I'm working from home because I'm writing and I haven't put this mic away. I come in and everyone's like, wow, Paris, your camera's so good. You have such a large mic. What's going on? And I'm like, I'm a podcaster. You wouldn't understand.
Didn't we do this last week? But officer, I'm a
I'm a
podcaster.
podcaster. Classic defense.
There was a very interesting article in the New York Times this week about Alex Karp, the founder. Did you read this of Palantir? Who is kind of an interesting billionaire.
Rough photo.
Well, but that's how he looks. He's kind of rough. Look at the pink socks.
I know. It's just the socks, the loose Rubik's cubes.
Oh, yeah.
well,
More than one.
sword?
A wooden sword.
The flash
tissues? The box of
the-
tissues?
Well, he does say he does Tai Chi, so I think that's where the sword is from.
And it's a sparse a home. He said.
Yeah, that's right. So he says...
But it's morninged out at length, which is a little more than I can take in a morning. But yes,
it is it needs a TLDR, and I'm not sure I'm prepared to do it. But I do recommend reading it because the company that he and Peter Thiel founded, Palantir, is being used in Ukraine and soon probably in war zones everywhere to add AI to killing machines. And he makes, I think, a strong case for, hey, this has always been a case that has been made by hawks everywhere. The path to security is through strength. That you don't prevent war by being a pacifist. You prevent war by bristling with weapons and saying, F around and find out, buddy. And in some ways, I kind of, here's another rough photo. This is,
a classic quote from a man who makes his millions or billions being a defense contractor.
Right.
Of course, the only way to fight war is with more war using my tools.
What's funny, he studied, he has a PhD in German philosophy.
I saw him speak. I was at an event I helped moderate. I didn't moderate him, but I was at an event in Vienna some years ago, and he was on a panel before me. And he's American, but he chose to do the panel in German because he had gotten a degree in German and kind of wanted to show off.
Yeah.
And did a good job.
I think he's probably a
Very
genius.
bright. Oh, yeah. Very, very smart.
Very Oppenheimer of him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Oppenheimer was prone
Famously
to watch
did
into
that.
different languages. Mark Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said that Karp is at the vanguard of the most significant fundamental change in the character of war ever recorded in history. And I think it's worth reading this. It's a long piece. It's probably too long for us to kind of quickly summarize on this show. But it is in the New York Times. It's worth reading. It raises some really interesting questions about the kind of research that we're doing in the United States. He says, look, everybody's doing it. We need to do it because our enemies are absolutely doing it. He says, you scare the crap out of your adversaries. He also says the tech scene in America is like the jazz scene in the 50s. I'm constantly telling people 86% of the top 50 tech companies in the world, just by market cap, are American, and people fall out of their chairs. It's hard for us to understand how dominant we are in certain industries. The CIA funded Palantir after 9/11, even though it was just a couple of guys, a couple of grad students.
Peter Thiel kind of used him, it would seem at first it's kind of like a beard.
Right.
He's very much in charge.
Right.
Palantir is also instrumental in
border security.
Yeah, the border security,
Yeah.
and has constantly renewing contracts with the Department of Homeland Security.
He says, we don't do business with China, Russia, or other countries opposed to the West. We have a consistently pro-Western view that the West has a superior way of living and organizing itself, especially if we live up to our aspirations. It's interesting how radical that is, considering it's not, in my view, that radical, Alex Karp says. If you believe we should appease Iran, Russia, and China by saying we're going to be nicer and nicer and nicer, of course, you'll look at Palantir negatively. Some of these places want you to do the apology show for what you believe in, and we don't apologize for what we believe in. I'm not going to apologize for defending the U.S. government on the border, defending the special ops, bringing the people home. I'm not apologizing for giving our product to Ukraine or Israel or lots of other places.
Giving?
Yeah, well, giving for a fee.
So he's an ardent supporter of U.S. hegemony.
Right.
It's
A
like
might
Altman's piece.
makes right,
Right.
sort of guy.
Kara Swisher, in her
America.
Burn book, actually the author of Burn book, but told the author of this profile, while Palantir promises a more efficient and cost-effective way to conduct war, should our goal be to make it less expensive, onerous, and painful? After all, war is not a video game, nor should it be. But I think that's a little too pat. I mean, I think this is a real conversation that, look, I'm not a hawk. I would say I'm a pacifist.
Because you were protesting through your whole youth
Right. But at the same time,
in a leather hat.
would you like a leather? I have a Peter Thiel leather hat. It's a cowboy hat.
This is still on my desk from last time we did this.
All right. You wear the cowboy hat.
I could get you in political trouble and wear my new hat.
Oh, white dudes for Harris. Get out of here. Get out of
Like,
here.
is this wrong for me to wear? Does this send the wrong message? I'm like, what message do you think it's sending other than you're a white dude and you're for Harris?
It's pretty simple, isn't it?
Yeah. I could wear this hat.
Okay, from the, that's a really good hat. From the article, Mr. Karp's friend, Diane von Furstenberg, told me that he sees himself as Batman, believing in the importance of choosing sides in a perilous world.
I'm Batman.
The New York office is called Gotham and features a statue and prints of Batman.
Well,
But
yeah,
some
and
critics
Palantir's
have a
named after
darker view.
the seeing stones in the Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's definitely got this counterculture. That's what's so weird about him. He has this counterculture vibe. But I think he's to the right of Henry Kissinger. Anyway, I just think worth reading because I think, however you feel about this, and I'm not. By the way, I'm not clear how I feel about it. It's probably good to be aware that this is going on, and this is where AI is on the cutting edge.
Oh, yeah.
I do think that defense tech companies, and specifically the intersection of defense tech and AI, do not get enough scrutiny from the media. We're all endlessly distracted by the parade of big tech, whatever Elon Musk is doing, and so on.
I smell Paris's next beat.
Meanwhile, defense tech is a large and scary sector.
Dowd quotes quotes Akshay Krishnaswamy, who is Palantir's chief architect. You live in the liberal democratic West because of reasons, and those reasons don't come for free. They act like it doesn't have to be fought for or defended rigorously. I know that we have a lot of listeners who feel that way, and I'm not sure I disagree. I don't know.
Hey, this is Benito. I kind of disagree with that.
Good. What do you think? Benito is our producer, technical director.
Well, you also don't have this. You also have this country because you genocided a bunch of people. So are you okay with that too?
No, that
yeah, I mean, I think
wrong.
that's the thing is that all of this,
but that's old history.
Pro-America might.
So what's your cutoff here? When
we've got to just do war to everyone constantly, and that's very
having come from a country that was colonized by America,
right?
You know,
Spain first, but America later. Then we're talking about the Philippines.
It's
all the more fun
that
to
hits
have
home.
one after another. Yeah.
I suppose we can take our hats off while we're talking about.
Now there's a
genocide.
serious discussion. Yes.
Yassifying myself. So yeah, that's a good. So you sound a little angry, Benito. Are you angry at America?
I mean, you know, I am an American. I am an American. So like, I can't really be angry at America. I'm angry at a lot of the choices that America has made.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Well said.
So how should we look? Obviously, we should stop. If we are still doing it, we certainly did it in the past. Overthrowing governments, you know, because Dole wants to create a banana plantation in Belize, we should not overthrow their legitimately democratic.
All of the economic terrorism we did in South America, like there's a lot of this stuff. There's a whole lot of this stuff, you know.
So that I think we all agree that's a bad thing. But I don't think that's necessary.
But this is the stuff that Palantir's tools are being used for.
Right.
You see?
Yeah. Yeah. It's colonialism of one better or another. I was thinking about this the other day, Benito, that you know, we grapple way late and badly with diversity in this country. Whenever I have discussions with people in Europe, they kind of think, well, that's not our problem. That's not our thing. Well, but their colonialism was off their land and ours generally was on our land, except with exceptions like Philippines. And I think that,
well, I mean, there's still Puerto Rico, there's still Guam.
Yeah, I agree. But there's also slavery here and failed reconstruction here. And so it causes different definitions of the idea of responsibility in these various places. Then you go to the countries where it happened to them, and it's obviously drastically different again. Yeah, you wonder how Palantir is being used now for control outside our borders.
It's worth reading the article. I think it raises some very interesting issues. And like it or not, we need to acknowledge what's going on, especially with AI and tech. And there is a Twitter account called Alex Karp's Hair, if you want to follow that. Roblox, MatthewBall.co. Roblox is the biggest game in the world, and it cannot make a profit. If you know a kid, you know Roblox, right? Roblox is 80 million people log into Roblox every single day. More people log into Roblox every 10 or so minutes than use that other VR world, Second Life, in a month at its peak. Roblox counts 380 million monthly active users, twice as many as Steam, 3 times that of the PlayStation, 3 times the number of unique annual users of the Nintendo Switch, 5 times as many as bought the Xbox. This is one game, and a game for kids at that. It is typically one of the 3 to 7 most played games on PlayStation and Xbox. Sensor Tower said in 2023, Roblox averaged more iOS and Android monthly active users than any other game, including Candy Crush. This is a massive success. And yet, has never made money.
How does it operate then?
I guess billionaires are pouring money into it. Run rate spending on Roblox over $3.8 billion, which is probably more than any other game.
Servers and stuff?
Yeah.
Marketing?
It's expensive. Every one of these users is costing money. In 2022, Roblox users designed 170,000 virtual clothing and accessory items and 15,000 virtual worlds every day. Every day. Now, a lot of the revenue that it makes, it pays out to the people who create this content. $3 billion since 2006.
Because since I don't play it, am I buying fake hay?
You're buying clothes. You're buying houses.
Also, Roblox is more of like it's a platform where people make games for other people. So you're buying other people's games within Roblox as well.
Right.
So like the thing with Roblox is it's a lot like Twitch. It has the same problem as Twitch, is that they have a lot of overhead to operate because there's a lot of servers and it's a live service. And it's like they have that whales problem. You need a couple of whales to keep the whole thing afloat. Right.
Over the last 12 months, it has averaged $138 in costs for every $100 it makes. That's not a road to success, a road to profit. It's a really interesting, this is a piece at matthewball.co. They spent a lot of money in R&D, 44% of revenue on R&D, $1.5 billion a year. So it's probably somebody figures they're going to turn a corner at some point.
And they just, in their most recent earnings report, they said that they lost, their net loss for the second quarter was around 200 million. And they predict that that's going to go up to around, 255 million or 275 million in the next quarter, which is not good. Not what you want.
Cash flow's great, but the costs are even greater. And that's really part of the problem is it's very expensive to do this.
I assume it's also a problem given, with the potential for bills like the Kids Online Safety Act and COPA 2.0 to pass, that would create an even bigger issue for companies like Roblox because many of their users are kids. And that's going to create even more stringent requirements around that data.
Another problem, of course, is the fees that iOS and Android charge, 30%, comes straight out of Roblox profits.
And like their biggest audience is little kids who are notoriously broke.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Roblox continues to grow its 13 plus and 18 plus database. They released a photo ID based 17 plus age verification system last year. So they now have age gated content. Of course, as those kids who, it's like Minecraft. I play Minecraft. As kids who played it grow up, they're going to keep playing it. And there's nothing that makes it inherently a kid's game. Have you played it, Benito? I haven't.
I haven't, no. But it's a little different from Minecraft because Minecraft, people make their own servers. It's distributed.
Right. Roblox runs all
Roblox
the
is
servers.
central, yeah.
Yeah. It's more like Blizzard's model.
I guess part of the issue is that, or at least part of understanding this, is they've been cash flow positive for like at least I think the last year, if not more. And so probably why they're not focusing as much on profit is that, they could always get back to sustainability by pumping the brakes and like reinvestment spending or whatnot.
Right.
But I also think that that's not a super sustainable way to run a business, especially if you're not, you're losing $1 billion a year.
Right. Advertising, they're going to start doing it. But I just wanted to bring it up because it is, in fact, one of the biggest media properties in the world. And because it's played by kids, I think a lot of us aren't really, our awareness is not there. Roblox.
Well, you have another story in the rundown, which I think is relevant.
Please bring it up.
About game players. And so since I'm not one and you are, it says something about each of us.
Well, I would say both Paris and I like to play games.
That's what I'm saying. You both are game players and I am not. Ergo, I must be better looking.
I did see that. I did see that. This is a study. What line is this?
You put it in.
I don't know what line it is, though.
Oh.
Looks and gaming.
Looks and gaming.
36.
Who and why? This is from NBER.org, the National Bureau of Economic Research.
Very weird study.
We investigate the relationship between physical attractiveness and the time people devote to video computer gaming. Average American teenagers spend 2.6% of their waking hours gaming. Average American teenagers. That's actually, I would have thought it'd be more than 2.6%.
Well, because there's good-looking people like me who don't do it.
Yeah. For adults,
for
it's
adults.
2.7%. It's a little bit higher.
I'm surprised that it's higher for adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Using the American ADD Health Study, we show that adults who are better looking
How that's determined, I do not know.
have more close friends. Arguably, gaming is costlier for them, so they engage in less of it. Physically attractive teens are less likely to engage in gaming at all, whereas unattractive teens who game spend more time each week on it than other gamers. I don't know why they even did this study.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't either.
offended.
It's ridiculous.
Attractive adults are also less likely than others to spend any time gaming, and if they do, they spend less time on it than less attractive adults. This reminds me of when I was a kid. I don't know if I should bring this up. I was always worried that I enjoyed self-pleasuring, shall we say.
We're really hitting all the notes in this show.
The doctor said, don't worry, he'll grow out of it. He'll gain
Wait. You discussed this with the doctor?
You discussed this with your parents who brought you to a doctor.
No, it
for
wasn't
the
that bad. But I thought,
discovered you?
well, is this, how much is too much?
At what age are we talking?
About 12.
Was it the hairy palms
I
that
don't
gotcha?
No, I don't know. Anyway, it was an abnormal amount. It was not out of control, but I just was curious. And the common wisdom at that time was, don't worry, you'll grow out of it. So I kept waiting to grow out of it. Anyway, enough of this. Let's stop. This is why I game. That's all. I'm just saying.
Sublimation, a very, very useful thing. Yeah.
We need the jammer B button.
Oh, I need that. Hey,
Just
I didn't say. I was
mute
very
the
careful.
chat.
Paris
very careful.
was trying to keep a straight face there.
Hey!
Finding it impossible.
Do you know Bulwer-Lytton? Who doesn't know Bulwer-Lytton? It was a dark and stormy night. Suddenly a shot rang out, right? You know that. Mm-hmm. I'll read you the original quote from the book Paul Clifford. It was a dark and stormy night. The rain fell in torrents, except at occasional intervals, when it was checked by a violent gust of wind which swept up the streets, for it is in London that our scene lies, rattling along the housetops, fiercely agitating the scanty flame of the lamps that struggled against the darkness. That is one sentence, the first sentence of Paul Clifford. And it is widely considered the worst sentence ever written in the English language. Which means, of course, there is a Bulwer-Lytton fiction contest every year to come up with an equally awful first sentence. Would you like to hear the winners this year?
Yes.
There's quite a few. This is the 2024 grand prize from Lawrence Person, Austin, Texas. She had a body that reached out and slapped my face like a 5-pound ham hock tossed from a speeding truck.
Oh, that's pretty good.
The Grand Panjandrum's Special Award for Joel Phillips, West Trenton, New Jersey.
I like this one.
Mrs. Higgins' body was found in the pantry, bludgeoned with a potato ricer and lying atop a 50-pound sack of Yukon Golds, her favorite for making gnocchi, though some people consider them too moist for this purpose.
I think that's a great question. That's a great sentence, actually.
It is.
I
love
like
it.
that one.
You're buying that book, right?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up.
There's so much. I love this contest. There's so much creativity. Here's the adventure winner. As Nils Norgrund struggled mightily, treading water to stay afloat, while grimly watching from a distance the Norwegian oil tanker he captained slowly sink in the treacherously dark and stormy seas off Murmansk, he gave no thought to whether the Giants had any chance of a pennant win this year. This is Northern Californian, obviously. Do you have any other favorites? There's quite a few of these. He was an old man who fished alone in a skiff in the Gulf Stream, and he had gone 84 days now without taking a fish. But as fish tend to live in the sea rather than in a skiff, he had only himself to blame. She was poured into the red latex dress like jello poured into a balloon, almost bursting at the seams, and her zaftig shape was awesome to behold. But I knew from the look on her face and the .45 she held pointing at me that this was no standard client of my detective agency, but a new collection agency tactic to get me to pay my long overdue phone bill.
This is the winner from the romance section. If broken hearts were made of simple syrup and shattered dreams were made from white rum, and agony and despair came from a 3/4 ounce of lime juice freshly squeezed and 3 mint leaves respectively, then Mary Lou just served up a mojito cocktail straight from the 9th circle of hell when she told Ricky the baby wasn't his. I think that actually rules. I think that's a good sentence.
Oh my God. Here's from the Purple Prose section. The winner, Robert Wolf, Pittsburgh, PA. Hungover, Bethany walked out onto the deck of her Malibu Beach beach house. Her pimentoless olive green eyes scouring the sand below like 2 Brillo pads, while a thundering blitzkrieg continued hammering within her head like demolition wrecking balls, repeatedly smashing against concrete walls, while accompanied by the deafening salvos of the cannons from the 1812 overture. Wow. These are fun. Anyway, the winners are out. Read them at your peril.
By Snoopy.
Pardon me?
Made famous by Snoopy.
Oh, yeah. Dark and Stormy Night. That's right, because he kept typing.
Yeah, that's always what Snoopy's book was beginning.
Yeah, and suddenly a shot rang out. I should give credit to Charles Schultz for that because it's not in the original.
Right.
Odious Outliers. Alexandra Strauss from New York, New York. The road to hell is paved with good intentions, and with precisely this questionable choice of paving material, combined with the ongoing flight of middle-class demons from the urban center of pandemonium proper to more spacious brimstone lakefront homes in its suburbs, that it produced the mess of closures, detours, and gridlock that were making Azazil's commute this morning a living, well, you know.
I found my favorite here. The historical fiction. Okay. It has a Gutenberg touch.
Oh.
On an otherwise fine spring morning, Helga Totentanz learned in an exceptionally hard way that whatever they might have told you in hospitality school up in Cologne, as a serving wench in Mainz's finest inn in 451 AD, you don't greet a battle-weary and obviously stressed general named Attila, fresh from crossing the Carpathians at the cost of 10,000 or so men, with an overly cheery, "Hi, hun."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby. Hey, there is some good news. The Department of Justice, I think everybody agrees this is a lawsuit that it has merit, suing Live Nation and Ticketmaster, looking to break them up. 10 more states have joined: Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nebraska, New Mexico, South Dakota, Utah, and Vermont. 39 of the 50 states, plus the District of Columbia, are now part of the lawsuit.
Now, this is antitrust that affects consumers that you go after.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
This is a good one. I mean,
they are awful.
I mean, just horrible.
And you no longer work for them, right? So you can. Didn't you work for? Was it?
I worked for iHeart, which used to.
Wasn't it part of iNation?
I think it was part of, but I don't know. Anyway, I have no association with either iHeart or Live Nation any longer. Live Nation Ticketmaster says the DOJ exercises its power over performers, venues, and independent promoters in ways that harm competition. They also impose barriers to competition that limit the entry and expansion to rivals. In particular, a safe ticket feature that they added, I think right after COVID, that was ostensibly to protect ticket holders from counterfeits, but in effect kept every other ticket company out of the business. I know in order to get in a venue since COVID, I have to have a Ticketmaster app on my phone that I have to present the phone to enter.
Speaking of antitrust, speaking of monopoly, speaking of undue
they're terrible
market power, it's just
terrible. Yeah. So there's one we can all get behind. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a fight that's been happening since the 90s.
Yeah. I hope they win on this one. I really do. Let's see. 20 years ago this week, Google went public.
Wow.
And if you bought $1,000 worth of Google stock 20 years ago, what do you think it'd be worth today?
Probably a pretty penny.
FU money.
FU money. The stock has appreciated 6,500%. So that $1,000 investment would be worth $66,000 today. I think right around when Google went public, I bought 20 shares. But in order to preserve my integrity doing this show, I dumped them.
Did I tell you my story? Nick Denton, late of Gawker, begged me to get the new houses, who I worked for at Condé Nast, to save Blogger in the day. And so they invested a puny amount, I think it was $600,000, to save Blogger. And they did save Blogger. That was not the only time it was saved. And then, of course, Blogger was sold to Google. And I got a call from the lawyers when I was still working there. And they said, and this is before it went public, we supposedly own some Google stock. Do you know where this came from? And so they owned it pre-IPO. And I'll bet you anything they sold it.
I'm sure they did. I have no regrets. I don't mind.
You got other regrets.
I have plenty of regrets. I just don't regret selling my Google stock.
I've never owned a stock.
Really?
Probably never will.
You're young yet. There's time yet.
I mean, it doesn't really mix super well with journalism.
Yeah, well, that's kind of, I only have mutual funds. Do you have any mutual funds? Or?
I mean, yes, I have like
you have
mutual
a 401k.
funds. Other stuff, but I'm saying 401k. I'm just saying I don't
individual
personally own any stock. I don't think
that's
that
admirable.
counts.
Yeah, I don't either. Hey, we're back. I'm sorry about that. Dropped out a little bit, but we've survived. Our long national nightmare is over. Leo's internet is back. Some good stories from, I think, from you, Mr. G. Mr. J.
Mr. G. That
Close.
classic person.
You're close to the alphabet.
Erase part of it, flip it around.
Wyoming's capital city.
Leo, you need to reconnect the other camera as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah, let me do that. Okay. That's interesting that it lost that. That's weird. You can see it now. Yes.
Oh, now we got to do this again.
What is the capital city of Wyoming? I should know this.
That's a good question. I don't know.
A wonderful question.
It's
we should know. I'm ashamed I don't.
and you know what? The Washington Post doesn't seem to know either because
Florida. They didn't.
All the Washington Post says is Wyoming's capital city, and at least in the first 4 paragraphs, there's no mention. I'm looking.
They were like, listen, I don't know, and I'm not going to find out.
Capital city of Wyoming.
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne. We should have known that.
I've been to Cheyenne, so I'm ashamed to admit that. The train, the California Zephyr goes right through Cheyenne. Anyway, a mayoral candidate running for a mayor in Cheyenne, Wyoming, says if he wins, he's going to let an AI run the town.
Didn't someone in Europe try this recently? We talked about this in the show.
We had the same story for someone else. Yeah.
Well, this guy also was trying to do it, but then OpenAI said, no, you can't. I'm guessing liability. And so he found a way around it.
He calls the AI bot Vic, short for Virtual Integrated Citizen. He had a sign that says AI for Mayor, gave a brief PowerPoint presentation on the history of AI. Thank you very much. Then he stepped aside to give the floor to his Mac Mini and iPad propped on a table and connected to a hanging speaker at the front of the room and told attendees to direct questions toward the screen. Somebody asked, is the computer system in City Hall sufficient to handle AI? Another said, if elected, would you take a pay cut? After each question, a pause followed. Making decisions that affect many people requires a careful balance of data-driven insights and human empathy. Here's how I would approach it. It added, before taking off a 6-part plan that included using AI to gather data on public opinion. Is this a terrible idea? Yes. Isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
AI for mayor. It says vote Vic meat avatar. Oh, I guess Victor Miller, the human, is the meat avatar of Vic, the AI. Oh, boy.
This is going to turn out to be a Mechanical Turk, right? Come on.
Yeah, there's going to be, I think Victor's going to get to run the whole thing.
God, this is so funny. The
Isn't
day
that
before,
ridiculous?
Miller had scrambled to get Vic working after OpenAI, the technology company behind this, shut down his account, citing policies against using its products for campaigning. Miller quickly made a second ChatGPT bot, allowing him to hold the meet and greet almost exactly as planned. So he's just hoping that he's able to continuously evade OpenAI's attempts to shut his
I've crafted a prompt
down.
that gets around. Here's an example of about the meet and greet from the Washington Post.
Did you take a pay cut?
Pause. Thinking. Working.
Little soft.
As an AI, I will draw a salary. However, Vic Miller, the human candidate, has always emphasized his commitment to serving the community above personal gain.
Oh, please.
Oh, it's boring.
Don't vote for that guy. Enough said.
His campaign email is a Gmail account.
Oh, forget about it.
That's rough.
Forget about it.
AI for Mayor 2024 at Gmail. Okay, wait. Look, this paragraph is actually a perfect work of journalism. Miller created a campaign email, AI for Mayor 2024 at gmail.com. He started marketing events. His father, Rod Miller, who said that, quote, pretty much nothing Victor does surprises me, end quote, began informally advising his candidacy.
He's
That's
going to lose
perfect.
This is a little league. Actually, more than 30 tech companies have pitched AI tools to political campaigns in November. The campaigns seem to be less than interested. This is from the New York Times. And this illustration is also from the New York Times. Thank you, Sam Wood. Yeah, I think good. Let's have for humans by humans. I like AI, but I don't think they should be using AI. Civox, which is one of the companies that an artificial intelligence company that offered its services to a candidate, made almost 1,000 calls to voters in 5 minutes. Nearly all of them hung up in the first few seconds when they heard a voice that described itself as an AI volunteer.
Yeah, wouldn't you hang up? Well,
Yeah.
we don't answer the phone.
Oh, the hell with
at all
you.
anymore.
Yeah, not at all.
Campaigns are largely not biting, says the Times. And when they have, the technology has fallen flat. Only a handful of candidates are using AI. Even fewer are willing to admit it. 3 of the companies said campaigns agreed to buy tech only if they could ensure the public would never find out. They must never know what I have done. An AI robocall in January mimicked Biden's voice. Remember that? Denounced by political watchdogs, investigated by local law enforcement. I think that this isn't going to be the year AI decides the election. I hope.
Be Human, a New York company founded in 2020 that uses AI to create videos, has pitched political campaigns on a product that personalized videos of candidates for voters. Candidates could record themselves speaking on an issue, and Be Human's AI-based technology could then clone their face and voice to create new videos. The opening lines could be tweaked to greet a specific voter or recite a particular talking point. Don Bosco, Be Human's founder, said, "Imagine you're a voter and you get a video in which a candidate says your name and speaks to your issues. That is creating human connection." Is
Fake
it?
human connection, but human connection. By the way, I was very happy to see Tim Walz, the candidate for vice president for the Democratic Party, at a Runza the other day, celebrating. He says, if you come to Nebraska, you've got to have a Runza.
What is a Runza?
Didn't we have Runzas on this show, or you don't know what I'm talking about? I ordered. I ate them during the show. Benito, you had a Runza, right? You thought it was quite delicious.
Oh, that was that thing.
Yeah, that's the pierogi.
The meat pie.
Oh no, that's different. It was something else weird you ate.
Listen, I'll support a meat pie.
Runza is a local delicacy in Nebraska, and it's a handheld meat pie.
I like those.
Tim Walz is campaigning in Nebraska, stops at the Runza restaurant to eat. This is a man of the people. But, I have to say, he's right. It's all about the bread consistency. It's a delicious, delicious treat. So
now, since
Joe Biden has his ice cream cones.
This is Chicago week. I love Chicago pizza. And yes, don't at me, it is pizza. I like Chicago hot dogs a lot. I have never developed a taste for Chicago Italian beef.
Love it. We have a local place. It's actually great because it's called Roy's at the Yard. It's at the stockyard where they auction off beef. So he gets his beef fresh. And actually, he says he ships the hot dogs and accompaniments, including the nuclear green relish, in from Chicago by truck. But he makes a very fine Chicago beef sandwich, which I had to have because of the bear.
Well, the bear, I know, and I just not. Have you ever had one, Paris?
No, I haven't. Well, the closest is yes, I have.
It's a French dip
in Chicago.
It's a French dip, but they do the dipping ahead of time.
I went to a local Jewish restaurant. Jew-ish is how they describe themselves. They did like this Shabbat service, non-religious, but just kind of like a Friday night highlighting local restaurateurs, and they did Chicago-style latke dogs. And it was like latkes with like a Chicago-style dog on top.
So the dog, instead of a bun, is wrapped in potato pancake.
It's kind of just on top of a latke. It was quite good.
Ooh.
By the way, when you're talking about AI being used in elections, there is some good news on that. Apparently, the Russians who've been trying to use AI to throw our elections, according to Meta, that interference is failing. New Meta security report finds that AI-powered deception campaigns provide only incremental results for bad actors.
Which we've known for a long time. It's like Cambridge Analytica had no secret sauce. It really didn't make a huge difference. People who are going to dumb and vote the wrong way, in my view, are going to dumb and vote the wrong way, in my view. And that's where we are.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as an undecided voter today.
That is true. Except somehow CNN keeps finding them.
Oh, I know.
I don't know where.
Oh, one of my favorite undecided voters this is part of the New York Times is a series going on right now where they're checking in with the same group of undecided voters throughout the election. You could probably pull it up. There is one guy who every time they check in with him, he's like, I haven't heard about Biden dropping out. Been too busy working. What? Geez. He's out. Harris is in. And I'm like, what a life you must live that you know none of the things that the New York Times reporter is calling you about. And every single time you're like, oh, beats me.
Here's the problem. If you are on the panel of undecided voters that the New York Times keeps calling, you damn well better not decide because they're going to stop calling you.
Yeah.
They're basically bribing you to not decide. We'll be regularly checking in with undecided voters between now and Election Day. Oh, Lord.
5 people.
The Times is on.
He's the one that works at Target. If you Control F Target, it might be showing up.
That's all right. We're done. I want to know why Google's Gmail is turning your rough notes into Polish.
Huh?
I'm sure for only good reasons.
It's not. It's Polish. It's called Polish. I'm just kidding. It's time for the Google changelog.
The Google changelog.
I'm so glad you brought the trumpets and timpanis with you to the attic.
Oh, man. It's not easy getting them all into the attic either. Okay, guys, this isn't going to be a long one. Don't go too far.
They were going to go take a lunch break.
They
But
get a smoke break usually is all they get. Gmail
they
can
actually
turn
smoke in the trumpets. It's very impressive.
Gmail can turn rough notes into a full draft with Gemini Polish. Okay, show of hands. How many thought it was the Polish language that Google was going to turn your notes into?
Listen, I mean, you said Polish, so I trusted you as a
Yeah.
We're talking hot
trusted me,
dogs,
didn't you?
sausages. It was
We were
in
talking
context.
Polishes.
We're talking Poles earlier also.
When you say Brat Summer, I say Brat Summer.
Let's call the whole thing off.
After entering some text in Gmail, rough notes, you can tap the pencil with a sparkle icon in the toolbar for polish. This is available on the mobile and the web. Google will let you regenerate and quickly replace the text. Meanwhile, Gmail for mobile will now show a help me write shortcut. The ability to polish drafts in Gmail is widely rolled out for Google One AI Premium, Gemini Business and Enterprise add-on, Gemini Education. I have this, but I don't think should I use this? Should I try it? You can formalize, elaborate, or shorten what you've written. That's been around for a while. Now there's also polish to effortlessly refine your emails.
No, I don't want to lose that je ne sais quoi of Leo's original voice.
Let me just try
yes
this
and
here.
no. As someone who hates writing emails and has to write a lot of emails, there could be something to just...
You're a writer.
I got to write
you?
Listen, I got to write a lot of things. I'm a writer, so I sit there and I overthink how I need to be writing the email sometimes. And there might be an occasional instance where it could be nice for me to just type in Leo, send me video, and then have it sound like a normal human sentence. I say that, but I also am a writer with anxiety, so I don't think I'll relinquish control to Google to do that for me, but I could see the use.
So I'm going to write a little Gmail to you. Gizmo. I have a robot and I can take care of Gizmo via telepresence. Okay. Now I click, what is it? The sparkle? Help me write. So I'm going to click, show this on the screen
Click
so
the
people can
Polish
see the excitement.
Your phone number's on there.
Oh, that phone number doesn't count. I'm going to sparkle it up. Okay. What? Now I have to write more?
There's not enough to sparkle.
I don't understand. I have to put this, maybe I have to put this message in here and then sparkle it. I have a robot.
It's just the exact same
It added
thing.
hello
Capitalized
best.
Gizmo. It knew Gizmo was a
That's
proper name.
all it did.
I mean,
This is a creative writing age. Okay, that was refine. Let me formalize it. This is more formal.
Dear Ms. Gizmo.
Hello. Best regards. It says now best regards. Let's elaborate on this.
it allows me to. It got shorter.
This is the worst.
It's really good.
Shorten it. How could you make it any shorter?
I could. You don't even need the robot.
I don't need a robot. That's redundant.
Well, that's right. That's good editing.
It's true. It is shorter.
Yeah, it is. Because telepresence presumes the robot.
Now, what else could I do with this? I don't have Polish yet. So let's just keep doing this until it comes up with something better. I guess I just didn't give it enough to work
No,
with.
you didn't. Cut and paste something out of the New York Times and see what it does with it.
Okay.
No, I think that's.
Okay. I'm going to take I know what I'll do. I'll take some spam from somebody. Here we go. All right. This I'm going to do a new one. Let's how do I put stuff in there?
Paste.
Insert. Okay. Paste this in. Okay. Now I'm going to fancy
Maybe
that
get
up.
rid of.
Oh, there, I got Polish.
You got
Okay.
Polish.
Okay, let's try it. So this is some spam I got. Hello, greetings of the day. We can get your email, your website, the first page of Google. Okay.
I bet actually this is a great thing for you to use because I bet this is exactly how this is going to be used.
This is how it was written in the first place, probably.
Spam. Well,
Let's
I was
try
going to say spammers would use that to make their things more legitimate, but maybe they won't because part of it is by making it sound so crappy, you are weeding out everyone who wouldn't immediately fall prey to your
I can't
scam.
figure it out. I can't. It's too hard for me to figure out.
Yeah.
I'm just going to.
Well, you don't know Polish. That's fair.
Yeah. It's not. Anyway, you can do that now.
Unpolished.
Google's stunning new Android AI feature instantly locks phone thieves out, according to Forbes. Davey Winder, a veteran cybersecurity writer, hacker, and analyst. Imagine if your smartphone was not only smart enough to know that it was being stolen, but could lock itself down to prevent the thief from being able to access your data. That's what this new feature rolling out soon to devices running Android 10 or later.
This is Forbes, which I'm a little dubious, but I had not heard of this anywhere else.
A theft detection lock timeline. To keep your device and your data safe before, during, and after a theft attempt, we introduced a new suite of advanced theft protection systems. Mishal Rahman, we know him well, has written about it. Rolling out. Oh, it's rolling out in Brazil.
Hey.
Okay.
But it's stunning, Leo.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Forbes. I tried Google's Pixel screenshots. It's everything I'd want an AI feature to be.
People are liking this.
Tomorrow I get my Pixel 9. I will, next week I'll play with it and we can have exactly the same amount of fun we just had trying the polish feature.
Which one did you get? Which Pixel did you get?
The most expensive.
The XL? Most
yeah.
Of
course. The biggest, the best.
Because that's you.
I was very excited about the call notes, right? But Android Police says disappointing restrictions. App researchers warn of potential restrictions on call notes functionality for saved contacts. Let's see. Well, we'll see, because I'm going to try it tomorrow. While there's a glimmer of hope that Google could extend the convenience to older phones, sorry, Jeff, with a feature drop, it's probably restricted. Let's see what they don't like about it. It's the lack of automatic feature activation on calls with saved contacts is disappointing. Okay. The option to manually enable it for calls should be available on the in-call UI. So is there no button to press? The feature description looks a lot like the always record option from calls from unknown numbers. So there's a good chance it will not launch in the US.
Oh, well, that's
last time we checked, Android Police says Google's other automatic call recording features were also unavailable in Canada, the US, UK, and most other regions in Europe.
Probably because of one-party recording.
Yeah, because of privacy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a little disappointed. All right. Well, I'll have a personal hands-on for you. Google Play will no longer pay to discover vulnerabilities in popular Android apps. The security reward program, 7 years old, is winding down.
Add it to the graveyard.
Put it in the graveyard.
It's perfect. It doesn't need it anymore.
Ah, goodness. The reason Google gave the program has seen a decrease in the number of actionable vulnerabilities. It is. This is it. It's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they haven't added anything or changed anything of note. So what the hell? It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. GSRP. Gone. And that is your Google. Let's take a little teeny tiny break, and then, because we're running long, and then I would like to come back with your gizmos of the week. That's such a cute kitty. So you're saying that if I were there and I were a woman, she'd be hissing?
Yeah, she'd be hissing, swatting, hiding in strategic locations to slash at your feet when you walk by.
Jesus.
I had the skee ball team over a bit ago to watch a movie, and I drugged her, gave her gabapentin. I had made sure it worked.
You gave your cat gabapentin?
Because she draws blood, Leo, and I wanted to have people over in my lovely apartment. She did when it was just me. When people were over, she powered through, fueled by rage, and was completely normal and anxious. And I had to hold her down. I had to pin her to my bed with both my hands in order to let my friends go to the bathroom.
That's terrible. What movie did you watch?
This was a couple months ago. We watched RRR, which was a great movie.
Oh,
the movie that I want to recommend, though, for my pick of the week is a movie I went to go see in theaters, Trap. It is a thriller, an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh,
and
it's the new one.
It's the new one. I love big, silly, dumb movies in theaters. I think that's one of the best things you can see in theaters. If it's not like a cool art house, interesting thing, it should be a big, dumb, silly movie. And Trap, I think, is
let me turn off the sound. That's scary. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So they're at a concert.
It's basically a dad takes his daughter to the equivalent of the Taylor Swift era's concert, except for as he's going around to like buy her a t-shirt, he hears from he starts to see police outside. He asks a guy who works there and they're like, oh, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but that serial killer, the butcher who's been all over the news, the police figured out he's here and this whole thing is a trap for him. And then you realize the dad is the serial killer, the butcher.
The dad is the butcher.
And he's trapped in the
is that a spoiler?
Concert. No, it's not.
No,
it happens,
you realize
it happens in the
quick.
trailer and in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Okay.
The whole movie is he is trapped in basically a giant arena with all the doors locked and has got to figure out how to get out while also being with his daughter at what's essentially the Eras tour. And
what's your favorite Shyamalan movie? Because they're up and down. There's all.
I haven't watched many. I'm just starting my M. Night Shyamalan journey because I used to be so easily spooked by movies. I wouldn't watch thrillers, so I stayed away from a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies. I want to watch the one about the beach that makes you old next, because I think that sounds quite silly.
Unbreakable. You should watch Unbreakable.
Unbreakable.
I will see that.
That's Benito's favorite. I like The Village a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really
I know
good
all the
one.
twists.
Oh, see, that spoils it. If you know the Sixth Sense, that what the truth is, it spoils it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, because that's the fun of a Shyamalan movie is what? He's the serial killer? What? So you like Trap?
I thought it was a delightful time. Listen,
right,
I was talking to my friends afterwards and they were like, oh, this and this doesn't hold up if you think about it. I'm like, we're not thinking too hard about it.
No.
We're a fun movie.
Signs. A lot of people in our Discord and YouTube say Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix in Signs. That's the one. That's the one where the crop circles, right? Or that's the crop circles.
Probably that seems like a sign. I will say I've also been on a Nick Cage kick lately and watched Snake Eyes a week or two before,
that's pretty funny. Yeah.
Which is a perfect movie to pair with Trap because they both take place in a locked arena.
And they're both over the top, it sounds like.
Yes.
Very nice. Trap, our recommendation of the week from Paris Martina. Mr. Jeff Jarvis, pick of the week.
Oh,
you got a bunch.
I got a bunch. Well, I'm going to start here. I've started reading the San Francisco Standard because I'm trying to read more independent media, and the Standard.
Nice. Moritz.
I think is very good. And I'll piss off people when I say this, but I got to say that I have some amusement, some schadenfreude here, that burners are finding that they're eating big losses.
They are not selling the tickets this year.
They buy tickets in advance thinking they got to be safe here.
Have either of you guys ever been to Burning Man?
No.
You?
Have you?
No.
I have many friends who go.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, Petaluma, this little town we're in, is a big headquarters for burners.
I wouldn't doubt it for a second.
A lot of the sculptures are made here and they bring them out. And we have a lot of listeners who are burners.
But then the next problem is that where have all the burners gone? The shops that cater to Burning Man are bracing for a slow season.
What does the Standard attribute? To what does it attribute this?
I wonder if it was last year's Mud Festival.
The mud. Yeah.
I bet it's that. I bet it's it. it's really expensive to get to Burning Man. It's become kind of a
joke.
I mean, it's always been like a rich tech dude thing to do, but it's becoming increasingly more just that kind of guy.
Yeah.
There. The closest I've ever been to Burning Man was once in my first year in New York when I was here as just a college student. Me and my friends ventured out to the deep, dark Brooklyn, a place that was crazy to go as a fresh NYU student, to go to a busker ball, like a party of street musicians and whatnot. It's supposed to be very chill. We're walking down the street. I think I've told this in the show before, but we're walking down the street and start hearing, it's like an empty street in Bushwick or something. We start hearing, and we're like, oh, I guess that must be it. There can't be two big parties in the street. We walk in and it's like half naked men and women in animal masks tossing fire, like someone's swallowing a sword.
Like a Tom
Everybody's
Cruise
climbing on it. It was a Burning Man pre-party, we found out later. And then eventually we left and went to the party we were supposed to actually be at. But that's the closest I've been.
Well, that's about like going to Burning Man, I think.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I got it.
You got it. It's supposed to be an art thing, right? And I think there's a lot of art.
It's also a cult. One of my former students is big on it and believes in it, is that it's kind of an experiment in society and a idealized society for the week of Burning Man, and I will respect her views on that, but I'm never going.
I just don't like
but
deserts and alkali.
Have you ever been tempted to go?
I've never been to Burning Man, but like I think we're like over. It's jumped the shark. I wanted to go back in like the early 2000s, maybe in the 90s would have been fun.
The billionaires.
But now Burning Man is just
like
it's when it's the best time to be in San Francisco because it's like nice and clear. Nobody's around anymore.
Not this year, buddy. No one's going.
No one's going.
It might be a little more crowded in San Francisco this year.
And then in related obnoxious San Francisco story, also from San Francisco Standard, is inside the opulent world of 6-figure birthday parties for kids in Silicon Valley.
Wait, $100,000 birthday parties?
And above. It's like Burning Man for kids, said one of the, that's why I put this in here. The silly circus show founder, Bree Crabtree, who juggled and goofed around with the kids of all kinds of venues. And then there's Wendy Gross, said it's the Burning Man for kids. It's a great market for clowns, magicians, balloon twisters, and everybody else. A dreamy place to earn a living for kids. There's a business called Power Up Parties. Can you imagine? What does this turn out? What does this create?
Oh, but there's so much more to talk about, but I guess we'll just...
There is. We could do the TikTok parrot, which I thought, okay, that's good enough as is. That's right there.
Just what you said is sufficient.
That's all I need to know. The owners, it's so good, they've quit their jobs and they're now full-time TikTok parrots.
Now we're going to have to make a law so that parrots...
Of a parrot.
Don't, that their parents don't take all the money from their work on TikTok.
Exactly.
An African gray Apollo has the brain power of a human toddler. He's very bubbly, very outgoing. He really wants to perform for everybody. He's a complete and total show off.
Is this the parrot that knocks over all the cups?
No. This parrot's tricks are really stupid. Like it can identify metal.
Great.
That's like an X-Men power.
There's a parrot. I don't follow it on TikTok, but it follows me on TikTok, and I'm not upset about it. I'll often see videos of it come across my feed where its parents, they just have like a cabinet in their kitchen that is empty except for just a bunch of like loose, like tiny solo cups and like tiny little cups that are all plastic. And the bit is they open the cabinet, put the parrot in there, and then the parrot moves to knock over the cups, and they pretend to be really scared and angry. They're like, oh no, parrot, please don't. And the parrot really likes that, so it knocks over all the cups even more, and they keep screaming, please stop, don't knock them over. And then it looks at them and throws one angrily, and they do this every day. It's lovely. Wow. And I'm really happy.
It's almost like a M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah, for parrots.
Don't ever let Gizmo meet this parrot.
I won't. No.
It'll be all
She doesn't
over.
understand that you can knock things off of surfaces. And
really? Because most cats are very good at
Listen,
that. Yeah.
I'm counting my blessings.
Yeah,
She's a misogynist, but she doesn't understand that you can spill glasses of water all over my electronics.
Ooh,
Don't let her know that. For that, I count my blessings.
Then and I have one for you, Paris. This is my San Francisco Standard run here, line 119. This is the kind of thing that I think you're going to run in your retirement with your friends. It is a mini golf where the object is having fun, not keeping score.
I like it.
Isn't that all mini golf?
Yeah,
so
honestly. Why isn't that all mini golf? Is there a picture here that I should show?
There is there.
If I can. Paris and pals need this San Francisco mini. Oh, it does look like fun. There's a rubber duck in a tub cocktail.
Like yeah.
That's a cocktail.
Oh, it's called the Holy Moly. That's really good.
I knew this would be very Paris.
Apparently, it's mostly about cocktails.
I used to live close to this place.
Exactly how
You know it, Benito?
I used to live near here, yeah.
Oh, this looks cool. Whatever that is. Always, let's play the video. The ball goes
that's
in
really good.
and it
Very
goes right
mesmerizing
down.
spiral.
And it comes out the hole right here.
Hey!
Beautiful.
Congratulations. You're a winner at Holy Moly.
Oh, I
the
love
bedroom.
this. A Vincent van Gogh bedroom.
That's pretty cool. Disco ball. Wow. They have locations also in Austin, Houston, and Denver. 9 holes for $14, 18 holes for $26. If you're under 21, there's a discount. This sounds like fun. The bells and whistles are mostly confined to the front 9. Going for the full 18 means golfers get to venture upstairs where it's much calmer. And there's a kitchen up there where French fries are served in a shopping cart with functional wheels.
That's beautiful.
The pop till you drop vodka, lime, watermelon, prosecco served in an adorable ceramic unicorn head for $14.
I like the rub-a-dub in the tub.
I do think that's
I
quite
get
cute.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is where you should go with when you're out here visiting the information. Paris
I will
Martineau
put-
writes for the information.com. She is in charge of covering the Utes.
The
Future
Utes.
generations.
The people who are yassifying. Well, I don't think they're yassifying things anymore. It's a little passe. But the people who once yassified.
Are you working on a particular story right now, or what are you getting the lay of the
I'm working
land?
on a number of things that'll come to fruition when they come to fruition.
Good. I want you to do an investigation. This is, I lost my internet again?
No, you're here.
No, you're here.
Oh,
Now you're paranoid. Now you're thinking all the time.
I know, every moment.
If we don't move enough, you're thinking that we're frozen. We've got to keep moving to prove that we're alive.
So you may remember that some years ago, Hewlett-Packard spent billions and billions of dollars on a company called Autonomy, an advertising company called Autonomy,
Oh, yeah.
which they wrote off.
A huge.
And then the boss of Autonomy was accused of fraud and brought to trial. His co-defendant brought to trial as well, Stephen Chamberlain, VP of Autonomy. Both died in mysterious accidents after being acquitted a couple of months ago. Chamberlain was fatally struck by a car while jogging. Mike Lynch was on that yacht that sank in the Mediterranean within a few days of each other and a few months of their acquittal. I think this is suspicious, Paris, and I think you need to look into it.
Yeah, I think the information needs to get me my own yacht. I should go out there and investigate.
I just seems a little, it's karma, I guess, but he was acquitted. I feel like maybe Mark Hurd or Carly Fiorina put out a hit. No, that can't be. That can't be.
In my dream, he would have frozen again right then before you could say that can't be, and it's a joke.
And then we're like, what happened?
What happened? I don't know. It's a coincidence. It's one of those just things that happen
weird,
sometimes.
very
once in a
weird.
while.
It is
Weird
very sad,
coincidence.
though.
Yeah. And it's sad. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this fine episode. I was going to tell you about the orange peels, but maybe I'll save that for another time. I thought this was kind of an interesting story, and I didn't not put it in the rundown because I didn't want you to steal it. See if I can
We're
find
not the
it here.
thieves.
How 12,000 tons of dumped orange peel grew into a landscape nobody expected to find. This is from Science Alert 2017. A juice company dumped 1,000 truckloads of orange peel in a barren pasture in Costa Rica in the mid-1990s as an experiment. There they are. It was thought that this deluge of nutrient-rich organic waste might turn the lifeless soil of the site
likely
into...
excuse. Didn't know how to get rid of all these damned orange fields making orange juice. But
So look, this is before, this is during. It's a very pretty orange. This is after. It did, in fact, turn the field into a lush green. It went through a gross stage. But within 6 months, the orange peels have been converted into soil, and then the rest.
And this appealed to you, why?
I don't know. I just thought it was kind of cool. I guess if you have some extra orange peels, you might want to apply it. Mr. Jeff Jarvis is the emeritus professor of journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the beautiful City University of New York. Soon, maybe tomorrow, to have a new job. We will find out next week.
We hope.
He's also the author of many books. You'll find the Gutenberg Parenthesis, soon to be in paperback, at gutenbergparenthesis.com. Next month, or the month after, I guess, the Web We Weave magazine is also available at gutenbergparenthesis.com. And you're working on a new book, right?
I'm working on the Linotype book now.
Oh, nice. And there's magazine. And I know you denied this, but you are our resident historian of technology. I know you don't have a degree in it or teach it.
I'd consider you guys both the resident historians.
Just because we're
given
old.
your experience.
Well, I'm a historian of popular culture from my youth.
We've lived it.
But I think it's good to have Jeff's perspective. I really appreciate it. We do This Week in Google every Wednesday round about, right after Windows Weekly, around about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us do it live on 7 platforms. We're, of course, in Discord for our wonderful Club Twit members. Thank you, Club Twit members. If you're not a member, ad-free versions of all the shows and the great warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that you are supporting
Yes, we're grateful
what we're trying to do here. $7 a month, twit.tv/club twit. That's all you have to know. Just go there. Please join. We'd love to have you. And of course, they make it possible. So we stream in Discord. We stream in YouTube, youtube.com/twit/live, twitch.tv/twit. We are also on Facebook, LinkedIn, x.com. Right now we're on Kick, but I think we're going to move.
Oh, man.
We're going to move to pigeons. We're going to do the show.
I think we're going to have
a
long string.
You can watch
with
the show there
toucans.
live, 2 p.m.
Oh, there, he's back.
Oh, my God. Is it frozen?
No,
Did it come
was.
back?
You're back now.
Where did you lose me?
Kick.
Kick.
And of course, Kick, but I think we're going to replace Kick with a Telegram. Watch this space. You can also get the show after the fact on the website, twit.tv/twig. Best thing to do is subscribe in your favorite podcast player so you get it every week the minute it's available. Paris, thank you so much. Thank you, Jeff Jarvis. Great to see you. We will see you right here next week on This Week in Google. Bye-bye.